What's up guys, Josiah LaRue here. So today we're going to be talking about some big news from Amazon. So let's go. So Amazon has really been working hard the last couple weeks. Just last week they introduced Amazon's music streaming, trying to compete with the big boys like Spotify or Beats audio streaming or other streaming services. It's great, they actually have a fairly large selection of audios to listen to. The only downside is it's not recent enough. Apparently they have not pulled the rights from enough of the labels or whatever, and they don't have anything in the top 40 from the last year or 6 months or what's really currently trending. Just stuff that's already been a top hit or oldies. So, you know, it's cool, but they still have a little bit to work on. But if you already have Prime, that's great, because now you have music streaming along with instant streaming of videos and TV and fast shipping and other things. So Prime really just keeps getting better and finally making it worth that $99 you're spending every year. But what we're going to be talking about today is the new hardware that Amazon introduced yesterday at their press conference. It's called, wait for it, the Amazon Fire Phone. See a theme here in all these Amazon products? Oh yeah, let's see here. We got the Fire HDX, the Fire TV, and now the Fire Phone. So, what's so special about this phone? Well, first of all, if you've picked up a Amazon Fire TV or a Fire HD or HDX, you pretty much know what you're looking at. You're looking at a heavily Amazon-skinned Android OS running on some pretty rock-solid hardware. So what is that hardware? Well, first of all, we have a 4.7-inch Gorilla Glass 720p HD display running with 500 nits of brightness, which is pretty dang bright. And it's also polarized, so unlike a lot of the other ones where you have to like crank the brightness up on your smartphone just to be able to view it in sunlight, it's polarized, so you can look at it as though you're like looking through sunglasses, so it's just normal viewing brightness necessary when viewing it outside in sunlight. So that's pretty cool. That is definitely innovative and something that the industry should think about doing, because otherwise you have to crank your brightness up and then start draining battery faster just to be able to overcome the brightness from the sun. So good job Amazon. Overall, it looks a lot like the other phones of its time, like the Moto X or some of the other ones that have a rubberized back with hardware buttons. The interesting thing about this is, besides the regular hardware buttons that you find on a phone, volume buttons, power button, etc., is there is a dedicated camera button. That's something that we haven't really seen in a while, but it's kind of cool. I mean, kinda? I don't know, the last time that was really popular was on the Motorola phones, so what are you doing, Amazon? But the answer to that is coming later, stay tuned. It's powered by a quad-core 2.2 GHz Snapdragon CPU, along with an Adreno 330 GPU for some pretty impressive processing and graphical power. It's pretty much on par with the HTC One M8 or the Samsung S5, so spec-wise it's pretty well up there. That's actually a pretty decent phone. It also has 2 gigs of RAM to power that all. It has a 13 megapixel rear-facing camera with f2.0 aperture and the ability to take 1080p video. So again, not anything really groundbreaking, but just an overall rock-solid camera on out of the back. So it'll be interesting to see how these photos actually look when compared to other ones. When Amazon showed some screenshots in their press conference, they showed the ability for this camera to take better low light images because of the larger aperture, taking in more light and making kind of darker shots look brighter and better. They showed it compared to the S5 and the 5S, which is not quite a fair comparison, being as the 5S still needs to be upgraded, but anyways. So they compared the two versus Amazon's photo, and Amazon's photo actually looked a little bit brighter and a little bit crisper, even though you could tell it was a dark image. So that should be pretty cool, in that you can actually shoot better images even if the sun's gone down. So great job Amazon with your cameras there. So while we're on photography, so another interesting thing that Amazon is doing, and kind of trying to answer up to Apple's move with cloud storage, is that they're offering free unlimited photo storage for all of your photos that you take on your Amazon Fire phone to the Amazon Cloud Drive. So that's actually one-upping Apple, because Apple only allows you to have the first 5 gigs free. Then you have to start paying for it. So while Apple's charge is very reasonable for the amount of storage that you get, free unlimited, free is always better. So great job, Amazon. That's actually a large selling point for you guys. So great job. And also, like I mentioned, that there is the dedicated shutter button on the side of the phone for you to take photos. So cool. Sound-wise, Amazon actually learned from its competitors like HTC, and looking at the market, they realized people want better speakers. Mono speakers in a cell phone is so yesterday. So they came out with dual Dolby Digital speakers and virtual Dolby surround sound. So I haven't actually had a listen test, but just those specs alone means that it should overall be a better audio listening experience than something like, unfortunately, the iPhone 5S or the Samsung S5 or something like that, where you're just putting in one speaker. That's not enough. Besides their premium audio, Amazon also includes some black, flat cabling earbuds for you to listen to. The purpose of the flat cable is supposedly that flat cables tangle less in your pocket, which is definitely a good thing. There are some other cool entertainment features. The first of which is that you can be watching a video on your Amazon Fire phone, such as on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Instant, and then just throw it up on your Fire TV and be watching it on the big screen. The second is called X-Ray, in that you can point your phone at the TV and it'll scan for character faces and then pull up their IMDb page. So you can see what movies they've been in and other information about them. So that's pretty cool too. Probably the biggest software feature of this phone is called Firefly. And this is the reason why there is that dedicated hardware button. You push and hold down the button and it pulls up Firefly. What is Firefly? Well, it's pretty much Siri, but for pictures in the real world. Let me explain. So you push down the button, it activates Firefly. It opens up the camera on the back like you'd be taking a picture. Only you just hold it over something in the real world. It live takes several images of it, then sends it back to Amazon's processing servers. It figures out what it is and then sends it back to you. And then it pulls up everything you can do. Can you buy it on Amazon? Can you rent it? Can you stream it? Can you listen to it? Can you watch it? Can you do anything to it or find it nearby? Yeah, so they pull up anything that Amazon can physically do for you with that product right there in the palm of your hand, almost as fast as Siri. That is super awesome, and I wish that's something that the other phone makers would do. Apple, you got some competition now. So I'm really excited to see how well this actually works. You know, of course it looks really cool in their press conference, but in the real world, how does it actually function? So that will be interesting to see. Now, a lot had been known about this phone before it was ever officially released in the press conference. And some people had been rumoring about 3D, which Amazon confirmed, but in a very interesting way, and in something that is a lot different than the 3D effects by the other competitors. So the way they do it is called dynamic perspective. So what there is 4 cameras on the front of your phone, which are always on and always watching you. Now, I guess they've done this in a way that it's not taking up too much battery, so you're not draining your phone just because you're constantly taking images. But what it does is it maps your face and then tracks it wherever it goes in relation to the phone. So I guess an easier way to do this is if you've used an iPhone that can run iOS 7 and you have parallax, which is their animation feature enabled on your phone, and so you rotate the phone like this and the background kind of moves and shudders in response to the angle of the phone. Well, they're doing this so that when you move the phone, it moves the icons so they actually look 3D, and so you see different perspectives of them. But it also in relation to your head. So say you tilt your head away like this and then kind of look at the phone out of the corner of your eye, you'll be seeing one view. You can tilt the phone while still looking at it, and you see another view, look the other way. So yeah, it tracks your face and changes stuff in relation to the angle of the phone and your face, which is taking face tracking and 3D perspective to a whole new level in a phone. Now, the way they portrayed it, again, in their press conference looks really freaking awesome. But in real life, well, that could be a different story. Parallax, for a lot of people, was kind of an yes, no. So whether this will be really cool or actually functional for a lot of people is kind of hard to say until reviewers actually get their hands on it. But I'm pretty impressed, and definitely it's technology that will push the industry forward in how we view 3D. Maybe they'll put this in our TVs so that it tracks the face of the people watching and dynamically changes the viewing angles of the TV so that you can view the 3D in more realistic 3D imaging. So great job, Amazon. If nothing less, you're pushing the industry forward and forcing your competition to actually move up their game. So great job. Getting back to some of the specs of the phone is going to be LTE but GSM only because the only US carrier that they're going through is AT&T, unfortunately. But hopefully in the future they'll release a Verizon or Sprint version. But for now they're kind of acting like iPhone and being AT&T only. So, you know, it's a pretty reliable network. AT&T have definitely stepped up their game in recent years, but that's what it is. It could be a deal breaker for some who don't want to switch, particularly if you've already been a long time Verizon customer. But for those of you already on AT&T, it's going to be a pretty rock solid phone. As with most of the other competitors, they have 802.11 AC wireless, NFC, and Bluetooth 4.0. It's supposed to have a pretty impressive battery life, while the actual battery milliamp hours is not known. It's supposed to have 285 hours of standby time, 22 hours of talk time, 65 hours of audio, and 11 hours of straight video playback. So comparing it to competitors, that's pretty spot on for what you can get out of an HTC One M8 or a Samsung Galaxy S5. So great job, Amazon, in that department as well. And one final kind of cool thing is that if you buy the Amazon Fire phone, Amazon will be throwing in 1 free year of Amazon Prime that you won't have to pay for. So there you go, you're automatically saving $99 if you're already a Prime member, or $99 if you're not. And I can kind of see why they're doing this, because you really need to have Amazon Prime in order to get a lot out of this phone. You need their Amazon streaming service for music or movies or books or whatever else. So I can see why they're doing it, but that's still a great deal. It's saving you $100, so that's pretty. Like I said, you can only get it from AT&T, and there are going to be 2 storage size versions of the phone. So you can get the 32 gig version for $199 on contract, or for $299 get the 64 gig version. If you're on their next program, you can get the 32 gig version for $27 a month, or the 64 gig for $31 a month. So yeah, overall you can get that phone for pretty cheap through AT&T, which is actually not that bad of a network anymore. Or you can go to Amazon directly and buy the phone off contract for $649 for the 32 gig version and $749 for the 64 gig version. So yeah guys, those are the specs and the overall features of the phone. So what are my first impressions or thoughts about it? I think if nothing else, it's a overall great phone that's really going to push their competitors forward. I think it's very well spec'd. It has some really cool features, some newish features which may or may not be a really cool hit, but we'll have to see. And overall, it's not really as much of a game changer as much as just forcing the competitors to up their game. For people already on AT&T, it's definitely a phone that they should take a look at, particularly if you're already using a lot of stuff in the Amazon infrastructure. If you have a Fire TV or a Kindle or do a lot of Amazon streaming, this is definitely a device for you. Amazon is following, just like Google and just like Apple, in designing devices that work very well with their own ecosystem and infrastructure, while trying to tie in the competitors as well so you don't feel completely alienated. So great job, Amazon, great phone, can't wait to see how it actually does in reviews and user testing. So yeah guys, that's the new Amazon Fire phone and some of my first impressions about it. So let me know in the comment box down below, what do you think of it? Is it going to be some radical game changer? What do you think about Firefly or Dynamic 3D? Or is it just some phone that you aren't really interested in because it's Amazon or because it's on AT&T? Let me know in the comment box down below. So yeah guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to hit that like button down below, comment and subscribe for all my new videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!